Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is
Twisted and Uncorked. What? Okay.
All right.
Do we have creepy facts?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, Lake Superior. It's one of the lakes up by Michigan, you know? There's the five Great Lakes, Lake Superior.
Yeah.
It is literally the size of South Carolina, which is a whole fucking state. It has 3 quadrillion gallons of cold water. Water so cold that a dead body will never float to the surface because the water is never warm enough to grow the bacteria needed to cause a dead body to float. How many bodies do you think is in that lake?
Well, there's going to be more now that all of these listeners have heard you say that.
Hey, we don't have serial killer listeners, please. I don't want to have serial killer listeners.
Oh. We can't say that we know this for sure.
That's true. Like half the people you meet in your life is serial killers, so.
Yeah, they say like what, 1 in 5 or something has murdered somebody?
I think it's 1 in 10, but still, it's a fucking lot.
Either way,
yeah,
don't love it. So here's a weird one.
Okay.
When you're born, you are born with 1 pint of blood, but by the time you're an adult, you have 4 to 5 quarts. That's a lot of blood.
That's a lot of blood
built up in your body over
That's
time.
Why vampires never kill babies.
Not enough blood for it to be worth it.
Not enough. Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, also, the stomach acid in your stomach is strong enough to dissolve most metals.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's interesting and weird, and I wouldn't have thought.
Right? The more you know.
The more you know.
Dislike
for sure. By the way, welcome to Twisted and Uncorked. Hey, guys.
Hey, Twisted Humans. We are on episode 9.
9 episodes. This week we are
almost at that big 1-0.
Yeah. This week we're doing another disappeared case. This is my disappeared case this week. And we are drinking sangria.
Yes.
Yum. I don't think
if you didn't save yourself a glass, that was a mistake, and we also didn't tell you to.
Yeah, we didn't even warn them. Oops.
You should know by now, guys.
So the ingredients for this one is blackberry or raspberry vodka. I just used vodka because I'm lazy as shit. And then blackberries.
I had raspberry vodka.
Oh, did you? And the other ingredients are blackberries, oranges, and limes. And I for sure used lime juice because once again I'm lazy as shit. But that's fine, you know. It tastes the same.
Still counts.
Mm-hmm. Also, one of the main ingredients is Stella Rosa black wine. But as we stated last week, we're not even considering this wine to be a wine because it's only 5% alcohol. Instead, we are using Sideshow wine. But it's delicious. It's pretty good. Strong.
Very strong. Yeah. I mean, I think if you were to leave this for a little bit longer, because I only made mine a few hours before we recorded, I think it would be really good. Like those blackberry juices, they just gotta... So, guys, make your sangria the night before on Monday when we post what you do to make it, and then get ready for today. Mm-hmm. And because you're ready for today, we know you have your sangria ready. It's strong. Hopefully not as strong as Sierra's.
You're going...
Also...
to need it strong this episode.
Oh, for this episode? Ugh, I'm really grossed out because
this is a heavy episode.
Oh, man. Okay,
Why
I'm going to have an
out?
extra big sip. Because So do you know what tryptophobia is?
Like the honeycomb thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the orange pores on like the peel of my orange, because I've had it sitting in here for so long, I've started to open. But then because it's a red wine, the red wine is going into the pores. So it just looks like my oranges have a little bunch of like little creepy red divots on them. And I'm grossed out by it. It's giving me tryptophobia vibes. I'm trying not to look at it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm drinking out of a bone straw for anybody that is watching us on YouTube. If you're not already looking at these beautiful faces, you should be. Oh, by the way, somebody on Twitter said that we were beautiful, so thanks.
Oh, well, thanks. Oh, by the way, someone in my class watches our videos on YouTube. Hi, Max.
Oh, hi, Max. Thanks for watching, Max. Yeah, well, thanks, Max, for also, yeah, thanks for watching. So
all right.
Yeah, let's get into this crazy case. I'm excited.
This is a crazy case, and I feel like I'm going to cry. This is the case that made me have a nightmare. For those of you who didn't listen to the
from
previous
like 2 weeks
episodes.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have very many nightmares anymore. I used to be the kind of person who watched scary movies all the time. Like, you know, Freddy Krueger and Nightmare... Wait, that's the same thing. Michael Myers, Friday the 13th. All of the things.
It's like...
You're laughing at me. Anyway, I used to watch all these scary movies, and it was fine. I love scary movies. I love scary stuff. Like, that is something I was into. And then when I got pregnant with my daughter, the, first pregnancy I had, I just somehow had extremely vivid nightmares all the time for anything. And the most vivid one I could remember at the time was from watching The Walking Dead. And that's like fucking zombies. Like, that is not scary at all.
I don't know anybody that didn't get nightmares from The Walking Dead, though, because it brought, because so many people believe that at some point, in one way or another, there is going to be a zombie apocalypse. So it puts a real fear into your brain and, real survival
I don't know. I've always
techniques and things that you would have to be mindful of.
I've always been super cocky when it came to the possibility of there being a zombie apocalypse. Like, I feel like, yeah, duh, I can survive. I would be like Emma Stone in Zombieland. Like, I can fucking do it. Like, not a big deal at all. So for me to have a nightmare about it, I was like I woke up in the middle of the night, obviously fucking panicked and terrified. And I hated it. I hated having that feeling, but at the same time, I was like, what is wrong with me? I'm so... Like, I feel like a little bitch right now. Like, how am I having nightmares about this, of all things? But it was terrifying. Like, I woke up in, like, a panic attack type state. And I had to stop watching scary movies. Because every time I watched something scary, it would happen to me. I stopped watching scary movies. I would only listen to scary podcasts. I even stopped, like, watching Criminal Minds and stuff. Like, I refused to watch anything scary. Yeah, I didn't want to wake up in that panicky state anymore. So that's how I started with podcasts. Is I needed to hear this. Like, I needed my fix.
Another creepy outlet.
But I didn't want to see it. If I saw it with my eyes, then I would dream it. If I heard it, I didn't dream it.
Interesting loophole.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. But researching this specific case gave me a nightmare that put me back in that panic, and I woke up at like 4:00 in the morning. I couldn't sleep, and I woke up panicked, and I refused to sleep. I did not want to go back to sleep because I was too scared that I was going to have that panicky feeling again. And that nightmare was me being taken by a human trafficker. And so I think after me telling this story, you will understand. So
awesome. So basically what she's saying is that all of us are going to have nightmares now. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. So
I have nightmares all the time, so it's fine.
Really? I can't do nightmares. It feels too real to me. I don't know what it is about my body, about my brain. If I have a nightmare, it seriously distresses me for days.
Yeah, for days. Especially like if it's about, like, if it involves somebody you really care about.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I have a little pre-warning message, and that is that this is kind of a comedy podcast. We talk about dark things that aren't usually funny, but we still joke and we laugh and we have fun. Obviously, you've been here, you know already. I'm not going to say that this episode is going to be different, but I do want to preface this by telling you that this is probably the most serious case I've ever covered, like in my entire podcasting career. Today's disappearance case that I'm going to cover is very new and, in my opinion, very solvable. Usually we cover unsolved or disappeared cases that are so old that the leads have run dry. And today I chose to cover this case specifically because I don't want that to happen in this case. I don't want people to be talking about this case as unsolved or disappeared in 20 years. I want people to talk about how we found this girl.
Yes.
So I have watched the TikTok videos. I follow the page on Instagram. I've joined the group on Facebook. And I have literally cried watching the mother of this girl beg and plead for any update from her daughter. This case has been covered in a much more serious manner on the Vanish podcast and on Voices for Justice.
Oh, wow.
Those women are probably much more suited for this kind of thing. But we have this platform and people listen to it. So I just want to cover it so it will be heard by as many people as possible. Like, I get it. I know that they're
every
better
storyteller tells a story
cases,
in a different way.
Yeah, I needed to cover this. I am hoping that everyone listening will want to share this story with anyone who will listen because it needs it.
This is where you yell at people when you're at a red light, like we suggested last week.
Also, hang flyers around your town. Like, this is something that I plan on doing. So, here we go. Alicia Navarro. Have you heard of her? Yeah?
Little amounts, yes.
Okay.
I don't think this is
getting
Alicia
as much Navarro,
news coverage as it should be.
It's not at all. It's not at all, and that's why I was like, I listen to it, I follow it, I see all these things, I share it, but I'm like, it's just not making it. So I want to do it. I want to talk about it.
And we're going to keep sharing and throwing it in your faces.
Yes. So Alicia Navarro of Glendale, Arizona, a suburb of Phoenix, was last seen at her own home on September 15th, 2019. Alicia was 5 days away from her 15th birthday. She went to a private school and was a great student, but she was kind of a loner. Alicia was diagnosed as a high-functioning autistic. Some days she stayed home from school due to high levels of anxiety. She had some friends at school, and she was trying to work through her social issues, but she self-described as shy, awkward, vulnerable, and weird. And I can totally relate.
As soon as you said weird, I was like, you are people,
yes.
Lisa.
Yes.
Come on. Come home and then come hang out with us.
Her mother encouraged her to go out and hang out with friends, but Alicia felt more comfortable when she talked to friends without seeing them. She was a gamer. Another total relatable thing. She played video games on her Xbox 360, like Minecraft, online with her friends and with strangers, who became her friends.
Oh, I love this so much.
I know. She also used Discord to talk to her gaming friends, which, honestly, I cannot get the hang of Discord, but I plan on it eventually. It sounds like a great outlet for communication.
It's pretty cool.
So, as Alicia was going through hormonal changes at this time, her mother also noticed some social changes. In April, Alicia became obsessed with a particular comic book called Demons in a Bottle, which was from an Iron Man series. This comic book went for $200, and Alicia really wanted it. Her mother bought it for her, and now looking back, her mother realized that she has never once seen her daughter actually read it, which is weird. But, whatever. Collectible, I guess.
Yeah, probably just a collectible in a glass case on a wall in a games room.
Yeah.
Like Alicia's house.
Alicia also became more interested in her appearance in the months before she disappeared. She wanted to wear perfume and makeup and shirts that showed some skin, when in the past, she couldn't handle the smells, and she wore hoodies in 100-degree heat, 37 Celsius, by the way. Yeah, like, just all the time hoodies, which...
Not even knowing what that was in Celsius, I felt sweaty, but as soon as you confirmed it, I'm like, how did she not die of heat stroke?
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. Like, kind of in, like, the emo stages when you're just like, whatever, I'm just gonna wear a hoodie all the time no matter what.
Yeah.
I feel like she's like a 2019 version of emo. She sounds like my people. So, Alicia also started to listen to different music. Older music. Instead of the pop that she was listening to before, she was now listening to Pink Floyd. And that was her favorite band.
For a 15-year-old in 2019?
Right? A little strange,
Okay.
but also
Odd.
I'm kind of like, good for you.
I respect it.
Right.
Yeah, you have an ear for old sound that you appreciate.
She also started to hang out with people outside of school for once in, like, her entire life. She once went to the mall with 2 boys from school, and she came home talking to her mom about another boy that was friends with the ones she knew, and about how he was so in shape. So she's, like, seeing boys. You know what I mean? Like, she's 15 years old.
She's starting to notice what she likes about the boys.
She is seeing them.
You do you, girl.
After she mentioned how in shape he was, she also wanted to get in shape herself. She got super into, like, fitness and protein type foods. And, she's like, I want these new protein shakes,
So, like,
Mom.
a healthy approach to fitness. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Not like I need to lose weight. Like, I want to be strong and fit and muscly like him. I'm sure she didn't sound creepy like I did.
So at the time of all of this happening, all of these changes seemed like normal things that a teenager might go through. And knowing Alicia's struggles in the past, her mother was really happy that Alicia was growing and becoming more social and managing her autism really well.
Aww.
September 15th, 2019 was just like any other day in Alicia's household, but the discovery the next morning changed her family's lives. Alicia's mother, Jessica, woke up and began cooking breakfast at 7 a.m. on September 16th. Jessica, her husband, and her 2 youngest children had breakfast and assumed that Alicia just hadn't woken up yet. While she was cooking, Jessica noticed that the back door of the house wasn't shut all the way. And immediately after that, she also noticed 2 chairs stacked up in the backyard at the fence. Jessica had a sinking gut feeling, a mother's instinct, that her daughter Alicia was not just asleep in her bedroom. When Jessica went to Alicia's bedroom, she was devastated to find that her gut feeling was right. Alicia was gone. She had taken her $200 comic book, some makeup, her laptop, and her phone with her. But she left the chargers for the phone and the laptop. She also left a note. It said, quote, "I ran away. I will be back. I swear. I'm sorry." End quote.
Weird.
Super fucking weird. Jessica was worried immediately, even more worried than any other mother would be, because this was so unlike anything Alicia had ever done before. She didn't handle being in the public for a long time well. She was picky about clothes and food and sensory, and she didn't really have many friends that she hung out with.
Like, yeah, she
Right.
stuck to her safe zones.
On top of that, Jessica had some issues with people Alicia met online in the past. Several years before, Jessica was monitoring Alicia's phone and noticed that she was conversating with someone she had met online. This person was prodding Alicia for answers to personal questions and saying things like, "Do you like stuffed animals? I can be your stuffed animal." Right? Even though Alicia...
Sorry,
I get it. If someone sent that to my daughter, I would track down the IP address and hunt them down and kill them, like in that one movie with that one guy whose daughter gets trafficked that I can't think of the name of right now. Taken. Jesus. Yes.
Taken?
I would do that.
Basically an entire movie about Liam Neeson just killing people.
Yeah, don't you dare ever text my daughter that. You will be part of Taken, and I will be Liam Neeson. Neeson. Jeez, I can't speak. Let me take a drink.
This is why I'm really glad that Sierra and I grew up in that cyber security, cyber awareness state when it was becoming popular for kids like Alicia's age, our age at the time that they were having those conversations about how to be safe. And now I feel like technology is so in your face that they don't really have those conversations.
It's a normal part of life to be on the computer all the time. Like, for our parents, it didn't exist. For us,
like, I remember having an hour in the 6th grade about how to be safe on the internet and how to approach things like she's dealing with in this case, or how to look out for things like that. And when we used MySpace or Nexopia on my end or whatever, we knew, like, we could spot everybody as being creepy because it was so drilled into our
now
brain.
it's like just meeting someone on the street.
I don't know, maybe I'm just speculating, but yeah, exactly. It's just normal. Like meeting somebody on the street. It's like, yeah, they could be weird or they could be normal, but they're not teaching you that grown men pry on young girls and ask for photos. And I don't know, it's just a different age. And being 19 in 2019, being 15, I can't even imagine what that's like.
Even though Alicia never responded to the personal questions, Jessica reported this incident to the police because she felt that it was an inappropriate conversation to have with her, young daughter at the time. The police didn't see 100%. Any harm being done, and no legal actions were taken. I mean, technically all they said is, "I can be your stuffed animal." So, like, it is fucking gross.
That is gross. You know what you do with stuffed animals? You cuddle them in bed.
It wasn't it's like a reasonable doubt. You know what I mean? Like, you can't prove anything, sadly. Even though the police didn't see any harm being done, Jessica and Alicia's therapist began talking to Alicia about the dangers of the internet after that. So her mom was like, "Listen, this is the shit that has happened, and we're going to discuss it." Over the years, Jessica built a trust with Alicia, and she never thought that anything bad could ever happen to Alicia because of the conversations that they had. She did everything right.
And having...
Seeing this note in her daughter's bedroom made her sick with fear for what may have happened, and she notified the police right away. It seemed that Alicia had left her home at about 3 a.m. on the morning of the 16th. Her dad was asleep on the couch, so the theory behind her leaving the door slightly open and climbing over the fence instead of just opening the door to the fence is so that she didn't wake him. Only Alicia's footprints, no one else's, was in her yard. And the part of the fence that she decided to climb over was away from the neighbor's security camera. So either she or someone who told her to take this route knew that the security camera was there and didn't want her to be on camera. All of the changes that Alicia was going through mixed with the things that she just took with her, specifically the comic book, gave Jessica the realization that Alicia was probably being groomed by someone she had met online. Another bit of circumstantial evidence to allude to that was the small golf ball-sized hole in her window screen, and the statement made by one of her friends from the mall that Alicia had a second phone that she called a burner phone. Yeah. So this 14, almost 15-year-old girl has a burner phone. My daughter's only 8, so, like, it's different. But I cannot fathom this happening. Like, I cannot imagine how Jessica feels right now after learning this information. Like, I would die. It's so heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd feel like you don't know your kid. Like,
a whole
they've been
nother
living
life.
another life that you have no access to now.
Jessica thinks that maybe Alicia was passing notes out her window to someone that she may have been talking to. Having been in the yard in the past, that person would know where the neighbor's security cameras were and would be able to tell Alicia how to avoid them. It's possible that even her burner phone was given to her through that hole in the window. Alicia had told her mom asked about it one day, like, why is there a hole in your window? And Alicia was like, oh, a bird did that. A bird did not do that.
I wonder now how many of my lies my mom does not believe. Bird in the window.
I mean, her mom had
her
suspicions,
mom knew that was
but
bullshit.
When you're, like, I can relate so fucking much. When you think you're doing everything right and your kid will tell you everything, you're just like, oh, what a weird bird. You know? You don't second guess your kids.
Yeah. No, in situations like this, I never think that
not
parents
until
did something
after.
wrong. Like,
not until after
kids are
all
gonna
of
do
this
what they're
happened,
gonna do.
Jessica was finally like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, what if that wasn't a bird? Like, why did I think it was a bird in the first place? Like, I can't believe it, you know? Yeah. And I would be the same way. So, Jessica and others have theorized that maybe Alicia wanted that $200 comic book to give as a gift to the person who was grooming her. Or maybe she really did want it, and she planned to have it signed at a Comic-Con that was taking place in California. When talking to some of her school friends, one said that Alicia told him she planned on running away to California, and she even asked him if he wanted to go with her. This wasn't told to any adults beforehand, because for one thing, kids have that sort of bond where you keep each other's secrets, but also he may not have believed her.
Yeah, like teenage girls threaten to run away all the time.
Yeah, and also, just like my daughter, she kind of told stories. There was a friend of hers who was a 20-year-old that she met online, and she told basically all of her street secrets and struggles to this guy. Yeah, but by the way, he seemed completely, like, compliant with police. He did interviews, and he's not a suspect or anything like that. He told everything that they wanted to know.
It's
but
so weird
anyway,
for a 20-year-old man to have a relationship with a 15-year-old girl.
That's true. But I don't know. I feel like gaming community
I don't know.
is
I
different.
get icky. Yeah, that's
you
true.
You don't know
gaming
their ages.
Community is very different. Yeah.
So this person said that Alicia would tell him things about people and events that didn't even really exist. Like, she had this little pretend life that she was living just in her head or in her imagination. Like, kind of like what my daughter is doing now. Like, she just kind of was like, you know, I mean, I don't have any exact quotes of what she said, but basically she's like
a combination of the mental health
telling
issues
all of
that
her
she's
secrets,
dealing with,
right?
Plus
exactly.
all of her games, plus all of her secrets, is kind of blending it together into this one world.
Right. So one thing she did tell him that he believed is that she had a boyfriend. So having that boyfriend may possibly be the person she was buying the comic book for. An interesting thing that I found. Yeah. An interesting thing that I found when I was looking through Reddit about this case is that the plot of the comic book she had kind of related to her leaving. It's a Marvel superhero comic, obviously. It's, you know, Iron Man. Most of it is just normal superhero, supervillain stuff. But in this comic, Iron Man / Tony Stark gets kidnapped and is stuck on the kidnapper's compound. And This is a direct quote from the Wikipedia page about the plot of Demons in a Bottle. It says, Stark attempts to escape Hammer's compound by climbing over a wall.
Ooh.
Which is kind of exactly what Alicia did. I mean, it could be nothing at all, but since Alicia took this comic book with her and decided to climb over a wall that surrounded her house to leave instead of just walking out a door that opened the fence, maybe there's something there.
And she took that fantasy world very seriously. So,
yeah.
Like, she respected it. So part of you, when you're playing these things and you're doing all of these things, you want to kind of be it too.
Yes. So maybe she did read the comic book, or maybe whoever was grooming her told her about it and convinced her that she was trapped in her own home and needed to escape. Maybe he told her that she should act out the comic book because he liked it and it would make him happy. Like, there's so many different scenarios. Maybe he invited her to Comic-Con or told her that he could take her there and they could go together. There were
I'll be back.
There were 17 scheduled Comic-Cons in different areas of California between the day she left and December 8th of that year. So, what's that, 3 months? Within 3 months, there were 17 scheduled Comic-Cons. Yeah. Like, I have a printout of all of them. It's ridiculous.
I'm lucky if Comic-Con comes to Vancouver once a year.
Yeah. All in California.
I've still never gone.
17. I went to one in Panama City, Florida. It was a super lame one.
Did you dress up?
Oh. No, my kids did, though. So, new point. Everyone talks about how great America is. But the media here is privately owned, meaning anyone can start a media business and say whatever they want. They can lie and it's fine because it's freedom of speech and freedom of press. You don't have to, look at something and say that, like everything is a lie in America. I'm sorry, but it is. To find the real truth, you have to literally dig through statistics. And the truth about kids in America, which I dug through statistics to find, is that every year, 800,000 kids are reported missing.
Oh my God, I'm going to throw up.
Most are runaways or abducted by a family member, and few are abducted by a stranger. The good news is that majority of them come home alive eventually. Alive being the key word because who knows what kind of harm they've had to endure while they were away. And the bad news is...
crime is victimless.
Right. And the bad news is that most of them who are abducted by a stranger do not come home alive if they ever come home at all. Arizona specifically has had major issues with child abductions, allegedly being due to being so close to the border, where a criminal can take a child and make them completely vanish from America's view. There is also a very high number of human trafficking criminals and child predators in Arizona. In January of 2020, Phoenix, Arizona police revealed that they had recently done a sting-type operation where they had police officers pose as minors online to lure out predators. 27 men were arrested during the operation called Silent Predator. Unfortunately,
27?
none of these men
How long did that go on for?
Led police to Alicia. It was, I don't have the specific dates, but it was in January of 2020, which I assume means just in January, so at most a month. Yeah, it's so much worse than that, too. Jessica follows the news cycles about all kinds of police sting operations and abducted children being rescued, hoping that one day Alicia will be found by police. On August 27th, 2020, 39 missing children were rescued in Georgia. On October 26th, 2020, 109 missing people, including 45 children in Ohio, were rescued from a human trafficking ring. On January 23rd, 2021, 33 missing children in Los Angeles were rescued. On February 10th, 2021, 15 missing children in Las Vegas were rescued. Alicia wasn't among any of these children rescued. Jessica is happy that these children are being rescued, but I can't imagine what it must feel like to get your hopes up every time you hear that children who have been abducted
About
and
a rescue
trafficked,
taking place.
right, they're coming home and then you're let down because your daughter is still gone. On top of that, I'm sorry, I told you this was a hard one.
Nobody is safe from this, and it's the scariest industry in the world to me.
Nobody is safe from this, and what kills me the most is that how often it's happening to children, because they literally don't know how to defend themselves, and they don't even realize they have to.
Yeah.
Like, usually these people are promising them something, like, you know...
Grooming is the scariest thing in the world.
It really, really is. Ugh.
Because it's like trying to, like, kids, depending on the kid, like, some kids are shyer than others, some are more outgoing, some are less likely to befriend people, but, like,
Right.
I can think of so many situations where I've had to work with kids where it takes me a matter of 20 minutes to win a kid over.
My daughter used to be the worst about that. Like, me and her grandparents half joked, but also half of me was like, what am I doing to my child? Because my daughter, literally, we would say she never meets a stranger. She was the nicest, most open, friendly person to everybody all the time. And recently that's changed, and she's shyer and more timid. And I'm glad, because I don't want her to be, like, I want her to be a friendly person, but I also don't want her to trust too much.
I mean, not to the point that you give your kid anxiety, like... I mean, I had really bad spikes in anxiety as a kid.
Yeah, not that
because
much
of this. But it didn't help when my grandma was telling me that women are more likely than men to get kidnapped and to watch out. And when you're playing outside, to come check in with her. Yeah. Lock your doors. Keep your children inside at all times. Never let them go. Just put them in a bubble.
Yes, a little bubble.
All solid parenting advice.
They're only young for so long.
No, nobody ever does anything wrong. And it's like, whenever I analyze these cases, I can only imagine that that's what every parent is thinking.
Yeah. Well, people do things wrong, just not the parents, usually. So there are actually some terrible people in the world who think that it's okay to joke about Alicia's disappearance. People message Jessica telling her that they have Alicia, or that they've done something to her. And
so sorry.
After being investigated, it turns out to be a lie. There was also one girl on TikTok, probably about 14 years old. I watched the video. She made an account. The account name was Alicia Navarro. And she made a video saying, I'm fine. My mom is just crazy. She wants to know where I am. And it was not Alicia. It was just some awful human being who was pretending to be a missing person. I don't understand. I don't get it.
To keep from screaming further and losing all of our listeners because I have visceral verbal reactions, I'm just going to drink my sangria.
Yeah, I can see that you're speechless. I was too. I don't have words for this type of human being. Like,
and then whoever parented that human being.
Exactly, that's
you
the
need
issue.
to look in the mirror.
That is the issue.
You need to look in the mirror.
Some parents are not doing something right if their children think it's okay to do something like that.
Ugh. Even if they think it's funny and they just don't, like, it's not funny.
It's not fucking funny. That's someone's life. Literal life that they're playing with. There have been a few sightings of Alicia, but none of the leads have actually been helpful enough to bring her home. There was one where someone said that they saw her with an African-American male who had tattoos on his neck. That same description of an African-American male with tattoos on his neck, I think it was also in his face. Anyway, he was one of the 27 that was arrested in the sting operation in Arizona. But he was questioned and he had no information about Alicia. So it could have been a different person. It could have been not Alicia. No one knows.
But another kid. Yeah.
Right. Jessica wants this story to be shared to as many people as possible. Alicia swore she'd be back in her note, but she hasn't made contact with her mother or her online friends. She hasn't even turned on her iPhone or her MacBook since she left. It's been just over a year, and her mother still has hope. I still have hope. I think somewhere somebody knows something, and they just don't realize that it's her that they've been seeing every day.
What's it, an uncorked life rule number,
Yes.
whatever. Somebody somewhere knows something.
Exactly. Jessica has raised a $20,000 reward for information that can bring Alicia home. It has brought in so many tips that the police are actually pretty mad about the reward. They're like, these tips are kind of leading us nowhere and it's a lot to go through. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The police continue to do their job and they investigate these leads, and that's a good thing because one of them will eventually be what helps find Alicia. One thing that really makes me hopeful is a very similar missing child went missing. Her name was Haley Burns. Haley Burns was also an autistic teen at the time of her abduction. She was lured out of her home by a man who she met online named Michael Wren Wysolowsk. Michael Wren Wysolowsk. There we go. He was 31 years old. Once he had her, he wouldn't let her go. He kept her as prisoner in his home for 13 months until Haley was able to gain access to internet and communicate with a random woman named Kat, who was a freaking godsend, and she told Kat her story. Yeah, she was literally kept in a cage by this man and sexually assaulted daily. And she finally, got on the internet when he wasn't looking or something and was like, I don't know who you are, but this is my name. Help. I'm missing. Please help. Kat got in contact with Haley's mother on Facebook and then got the FBI involved, and Haley was found. She had been abused, raped, kept in a dog cage, but she was found alive.
Wow. The
sad ending to this story is that her captor didn't even go to jail. He was sentenced to 10 years of probation.
Killed himself, didn't he?
Nope. 10 years of probation for abduction. Yeah, that's it. I don't know if maybe he was helping them find other people. I don't know what his deal was like, but yeah, 10 years of probation is what Michael Wren Wysolowsk received.
Fuck how you say his name.
Right.
He sucks.
He doesn't fucking matter.
Oh my god, seriously?
But at least Haley Burns was alive, and she was home.
Yes, that is. But lock him away forever. What's to stop him from doing that to another little girl that might not have the opportunity to get to the internet?
10 years of probation, quote unquote. They're watching him now, supposedly. Anyway.
What the fuck?
What that shows to me is that even those terrible, awful people who abduct these children usually want to keep them alive to have their way with them. And even though I'm saddened and worried about what sweet Alicia might be dealing with right now, I do believe that she is still alive. We just have to find her. So, like I am now, please go and follow her mother's journey on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. Look at Alicia's picture every chance you get. Remember what she looks like, and don't hesitate to snap a photo if you see someone that resembles Alicia, and send in your tips to the police.
Even if your lead seems small, it might be the right one.
Yes.
So.
We will post a photo on all of our social media posts with her multiple possible looks. They have a outline of what she could look like with makeup, what she could look like with different colored hair, with glasses, with a mask because COVID. She's now...
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's now 16 years old. She has brown eyes. She's approximately 4 feet, 5 inches tall, and weighs about 95 pounds.
Oh, she's so little.
If you know anything at all about where Alicia may be or who she was in contact with online, you can call 911. You can call the Glendale Police Department at 623-930-3000. You can call the Anti-Predator Project at 305-796-4895, or you can email your tips to tips@antipredatorproject.org. And also, if you're a parent who worries that something like this could happen to your child, there's a website called vetsforchildrescue.org. It's vets, V-E-T-S, the number 4, childrescue.org. And it has a list of monitoring and parental control apps that you may find helpful. So, I mean, I'm not saying that Jessica did anything wrong here. She did monitor her daughter. There were just, she had a fucking burner phone. How do you monitor that? I'm just saying,
and as scary as it is, sometimes your kids are smarter than you are.
Yes. But do the same things that Jessica did and at least have that much information on your kid by going to that website and downloading the apps that track your kids' activity on the internet, because it's fucking scary.
Have you downloaded it?
I haven't. So I
know my ex-coworker downloaded it for her son because he just turned 15.
My daughter is only 8, about to be 9. My son is only 7. I am naive, and I assume that my children don't really know too much what they're doing on the internet. I do have for their Switch where it alerts me every time they do something. So at the end of every week, their Switch tells me the apps that they've been on. And then for their cool. Tablets, they also have iPads. I just go on there every week and look through their history. And again, I'm naive enough to assume that they don't know how to.
And your daughter's YouTube history?
Yes, I go through, like, I click on internet and go through the history, and everything she's ever clicked on is in there.
I know you're an incredible mom. I'm just making a joke to make sure that she's not listening to our podcast secretly.
I don't actually know if she knows how to delete it, and that scares the shit out of me. And one of my friends recently just told me that they got the Nanny Cam, I think is what it's called, app for their kids' tablet, and I was like, I think I'm going to do that. I don't necessarily want to go so deep into theories that we scare Jessica, but what do you think happened? I mean, I really think that she was groomed. I feel like it's pretty obvious.
I think she was definitely groomed. I think she was lured to something, and I think, like Kaylee Burns, she's being held somewhere.
Yeah. I hate it so much, but at least
I mean, I hope and I pray that
sort of
somebody is, like, personally holding her and that she's not been, just because of her age, put into, like a sex ring of any form for her age group, because 12 to 16 is very common to end up in that. And no, of course, I don't want to scare Jessica either. I'm hoping that some sicko is just holding her somewhere like Kaylee, and that she hasn't been moved somewhere, because that makes this kind of stuff even harder.
Yeah.
And I know that the FBI does have means of capturing images on the internet that have surfaced to the internet that are children. Right. And they can track when the photo was taken and who the kid is of to the best of their records.
Honestly, the biggest thing that I hate about this case, for one, Alicia does have asthma, so being out in the world with COVID is more dangerous for her. Her mother has stated that. But I hate that COVID is a thing. Yeah, that just hurt me.
I have the worst asthma.
I hate that COVID is even a thing. And, like, but also, like, not being able to notice her on CCTV, for instance, because of the masks. I hate that so much. I mean, I know that masks are necessary. I understand that they help people.
I actually didn't think of it that way.
But also, they hurt people in this specific case where someone is missing.
Like, that's true.
I hate that. Yeah. I don't look completely like different. This.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Because somebody could have, like, a really noticeable chip in their tooth, or, like, a crooked nose.
She has a really noticeable
a dimple, smile. Or... Yeah, or... Oh, you're going to show me and hurt my heart.
Mm-hmm. Definitely go and take a look at our Instagram and our Facebook and our Twitter. You need to see these pictures of Alicia Navarro, with her with different hair color, with her with makeup, with her with masks, with her with glasses. You need to know what she looks like. Put that vision in your mind and leave it there. If you see someone who looks like Alicia Navarro, please, please, please reach out any tips can help.
Yes, 100%. And I will just piggyback on that. The kids in like 15 plus, like they grow up overnight. They look like a different woman. So please burn those different images in your head, because kids change the way that they look. The minute they hit puberty, they try different looks, and especially if somebody else is potentially in control of her looks, memorize the differences. I'm really, really hopeful that this case reaches places and that she is able to be brought home
if she
safely.
is, if any updates come from this, we will do an episode, a mini episode about an update for this case, for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yes, we will be following this, and I think this is kind of the first opportunity I've ever had to follow something this closely. I mean, there's cases that I covered, like the Delphi murders and things like that are still like active, ongoing investigations, but a few years have passed. This is still so fresh. So fresh in people's memories, fresh in people's proximity. Like, she couldn't have gotten further than she could have in 4 years. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
As bad as that sounds. Like, if she's moving somewhere with somebody, it's not as far as it could have potentially been. So, especially if this is a trafficking situation, and that is my biggest fear ever. We hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Let us know your theories about both of our disappeared cases today, and if you take anything out of, the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
This category. But if you take anything out of these episodes that we've covered over the last couple weeks, just please keep sharing this story. She deserves answers. And
yes,
I mean,
Maddie as well.
Maddie's
she's just
too.
gone. Like, that doesn't mean she's dead. She's gone, and someone needs to find her.
Yes. And we will see you guys next week as per usual. Remember to follow us on all of the platforms to see all of these photos and our website. And we will have all of the resources and links there that you need and numbers you need to call if you know any information. And remember to share this podcast with your friends, if not for this episode alone, but because you love us. Anything else, Sierra?
Yeah. I think that's it.
We're going to roll on out of here, and until next Tuesday, just a reminder,
keep it twisted.
This is Wine, Dine, and Storytime. I'm Nydia.
I'm Dana. I'm Cindy, and we're your hosts.
Have you ruined a family gathering by asking what wine pairs well with eating a husband?
Are you the CEO of TMI? Have you ever been kicked under the table because you brought up your favorite dinner topic, atrocities throughout history? Then this podcast is perfect for you.
Each week, Dana and I share stories based on topics that include true crime, historical shenanigans, unexplained mysteries, and all things fascinating, while our amateur chef Cindy prepares themed dinners and pairs wines based on those topics.
Find us, the Wine, Dine, and Storytime podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, and give us a follow.